All right, welcome to Garden Chatter. We're so excited to be here tonight. We've got a good lineup of guests, and we'll introduce them here in just a minute. I'm excited to have my co-host, Bren Hawes, with me today. Bren, why don't you go ahead and jump in there, and you can introduce our guests today.
Oh, hey, Adam. This is going to be a fun night. We've got, well, first of all, excuse me, it's way past my bedtime, so I'll try not to yawn. But it's fun to be with you West Coasters. We've got Chantal and Ryan from TheHorticult.com, and then the lovely Nell Foster from JoyUsGarden.com. So exciting.
Thank you. Thanks, Bren.
Great. Why don't we go ahead and take just a moment and let Chantal and Ryan just tell a little bit about maybe how they got to be blogging with the Horticult and kind of their story leading up to that, just for a couple of minutes so we can get to know them a little bit. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Sure.
All right, Adam. Well, this is we're here in our yard, and this is kind of where it all started. Just we moved here in 2007 as just engaged, and the place was a blank lot. Kind of see a little bit of it. So.
You want to show the coleus? We got our autumn fix with our little coleus vertical garden right here.
But we're sitting underneath the arbor, and we've just kind of turned our space here into like
an outdoor room.
Exactly, a bunch of outdoor rooms with different areas for different plants that require different care. So little microclimates all throughout our garden, and we're mostly, I'd say, ornamentals. We're not growing too many vegetables. We have a lot of fruit trees, but mostly herbs and ornamentals and fruit.
Yeah, a lot of succulents and air plants. I mean, we started gardening basically when we first moved here. We're both from the East Coast, and basically with succulents that gave us confidence because we didn't kill them. And so we kind of branched out, so to speak, from there. We have this magnificent guava tree in the backyard that kind of drew us to the space. And from there, we just started entertaining a lot outside. We had movie nights with our friends. And it was our friends who encouraged us to start blogging and kind of write about gardening from like in a roundabout way. So everything from cocktails to how to take care of your coleus or ferns to DIY stuff, and
we come from a little bit more of the approach that we're learning. We're not professional gardeners, so we're kind of learning as we go. And we're just sharing our lessons and
asking experts.
Yes, exactly. So a lot of trial by error. But when we learn something good, we like to share it. So it's kind of our story. And we've been blogging for about a year and a half now. So.
Yeah, over a year and a half.
That's fantastic. I love your blog. So I was wondering, is there one of you that's a little bit like the photographer and one does the tech stuff, or do you kind of share it out? Who does the writing, or do you kind of
Ryan's the photographer. I do the writing. Both, as far as the design of the blog goes, that's definitely, I mean, everything's collaborative, but as far as the design of the blog, we worked together on making sure the margins were the way we wanted it and everything like that. I do a little bit of coding, but as far as tech goes. But Ryan, all the furniture in our yard, which we write about sometimes, it's all Ryan.
So yeah, pretty much I'm pretty much the one doing, most of the actual getting my hands a little dirty, and Chantal definitely joins, and we kind of trade off a little bit in that area. But I'm finding myself up a little bit earlier and getting my hands dirty. But we definitely a team in what we're doing, and it kind of, when we're working on posts, I'm working, doing all the photography usually, and then while Chantal's working the writing. So we're up late sometimes.
Tonight probably.
Yeah, probably tonight. We're trying to work on a post.
Actually, about Waukwalla Falls.
Right. So it takes we definitely do it as a teaming effort, but we try to take a lot of time in both for our posts.
Sounds like a good teamwork. Did you say that you're doing a blog post on Klamath Falls? Did you say something about that?
Klamath Falls up in near Fort Hood, off the Tanner Creek and near Fort
Hood River.
Oh, Hood River.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Oh,
40
okay.
minutes out of Portland. Yeah.
Yeah, because you guys just had a nice trip up to Portland, I think, the other day. You were.
Oh, it's magic.
So we're still working on quite a few posts from that trip. We don't want to get them up soon, so they don't seem too outdated. But we're really looking forward to the Chinese garden, and also
the
Japanese garden, and then this hiking trip. So that's what's kind of coming up on our blog. But we don't want to do those posts back to back. Kind of want to mix them in with some other kind of DIY type stuff that we're working on. And yeah, we're excited that the summer's kind of winding down and the beach being a block away isn't so distracting for us anymore. And so
you poor thing.
Unfortunately it's been a drought, but it's been so nice here. The weather's been so nice. It's really hard to be in front of a computer when the weather's that nice.
Yeah, I bet. Well, I will be looking forward to seeing those posts. I know I've been to the Chinese garden in Portland, Oregon, and it is really amazing.
Oh,
yes.
And all the skyscrapers around it just adds to the effect.
Right. Yeah, it's just tucked in there in the downtown. Well, I thought maybe Nell, we could jump over to you and hear a little bit of your story of what you've been up to, and you're in Santa Barbara now.
I'm in Santa Barbara, which is about 3 hours up the coast from Ryan and Chantal, and I've been to their garden. I filmed a video on staghorn ferns in there, which you should all check out, by the way, blog post and video. It was really beautiful. They do have a very livable garden. It's gorgeous. It's a fun space, great space for parties. I have I'm different from I have a passion for plants, but I am a professional. I was a professional gardener. I grew up on a farm. I always kid that I was sent out to the fields to weed as soon as I could crawl. So I'm very familiar with vegetable gardening. I don't do any vegetable gardening now. We had lots of flower beds. We had a home greenhouse. I actually studied. I started in landscape architecture, switched to horticulture. So I have been in the field of plants somehow for a long, long time. I was in house plants, flowers, gardening, exterior gardening, and now I have a garden blog. It started, I was designing garden products, so I just wanted to do a blog because that's the best way to get your product out there. And now we've switched more into an educational, inspirational. So I do a lot of how-to posts on specific plants and that kind of thing. So.
That's great. I love your site too. I just hadn't visited it till just recently, and I was really enjoying it. So check it out.
Our new site will be a lot easier to navigate and easier to find things, which should be out in about 4 weeks. So we're excited about that. But I have a garden that's very it's not similar to theirs. I am a plant junkie. I have a lot of plants in my garden. I used to design gardens where I would do big drifts of things for people. I was working on big gardens, but now I'm into succulents, bromeliads. I'm now getting into Rex begonias. That's kind of which do very well in our climate, and I have a lot of South African plants, Australian plants. So, and I have like Chantal and Ryan. I also have I have a lemon. I have a loquat. I have an orange. I have an avocado, and I have an herb garden. That's my gardening.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, I noticed Ryan is in his short sleeve shirt there. Last week we were talking mostly with gardeners that were more in the north, and we described our winter gardens, and there was either not much, a lot of snow, or we had the what was it, the kale tree.
Kale tree.
The kale tree. It could survive. It was the toughest thing. So.
Well, I'm going to be enjoying your blogs this weekend because we actually have snow in the forecast.
Oh my goodness!
In Ohio, it just keeps getting earlier and earlier every year. I don't know.
It's early.
It's very early.
Oh.
You know, the kids have to trick or treat with their snowsuits on.
Oh.
And that's when you have to be really creative with blogging because you have that for like 4 months.
Yeah.
Right. So you'll probably get a lot of hits from us northern bloggers because we love to see your warm shares. So keep them coming.
Exactly. That's when you should do things like Friday favorites or Wednesday must-have products. You can just
There you go.
surf the web and surf other blogs and do a compilation of the things that you want to have. And then in spring you'll be out in the garden, so you won't have any time to blog anyway.
Right. Right.
For me, in terms of winter gardening, I'll get back to that. It's same as Chantal and Ryan because I've been in their garden. I really don't have that much deciduous. I actually cut my shrimp plants back because I have like a hedge of shrimp plants, and I have a jacaranda. Well, there's 2 jacaranda trees, and I'm from New England, the land of foliage and fall color, and I have a jacaranda tree, and when I moved to Santa Barbara, it defoliates in February. I'm like, what tree defoliates in February? So it's still all very green, and it's going to stay very green, but then in February they lose all their leaves, and then they come back with the flowers in May, and the foliage comes out. So that's my one homage to a deciduous tree here in Santa Barbara that I have very close. We don't have a lot of deciduous trees. I mean, we have a lot more evergreen. So
How cold does it get up there? How cold does it get up there in Santa Barbara?
Oh, we might be like a few degrees cooler than you.
Okay.
But we're still on the coast. I'm very close to the beach too, whereas you get up in the hills in Santa Barbara, it can get a little cooler, and there could be a frost advisory maybe, but we very rarely have a frost. So our gardening in the winter, gardening for me in the winter too means I don't have to prune my bougainvilleas as much. Because they take a lot of, they take those things grow, they're monsters. So I just don't have to prune them as much. One goes semi-deciduous, the other loses almost all its leaves, so it doesn't get quite as
now, when you get a frost, how do you take care of the citrus tree? Your lime tree, you said you had. Are those affected at all by that?
No, because we haven't. They're right, very close to the beach too, so we don't get that much of a frost. It can get cold, and to have any kind of actually, I lived up in San Francisco, and I forget what year it was where there was like a 3-night frost, and that did a lot of damage. There were bougainvilleas and tipicinas and things, that Australian tree ferns that got hit a bit. So it does take a few nights of a frost to really do some damage.
Okay.
So sometimes we'll have a frost advisory, but it might be like 38. So we don't have a lot of deal with.
One since we lived here.
No.
Wow.
Our succulents actually love the winter.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Succulents are enjoying the aeonium is coming back. Kind of been sleeping all this. It's been really tough for.
It was really hot. Yes.
Yeah, it's been really tough for a lot of the succulents, and the aloe you can start. We're actually I think we're still about a month and a half ahead or 2 months ahead, and a lot of the blooming I noticed down the street. The aloe, we have this big aloe hedge on our walk down the street, and it's already starting to bloom. And I was looking back at my photos and. From a couple of years back, and that was blooming in January.
Wow.
In 2 years back, it was full bloom in like January, February, late January. So we're definitely kind of on the trend of still like a month to 2 months ahead on most of our, especially our fruit trees, and our loquat tree is still, it just bloomed, our loquat tree. So we'll get loquats and probably this year in December or January again.
Yeah, which is wild.
Right. So used to come in April. Yeah. We did our first post the previous year, 2012. We did the post on loquats in
2013
or 13. Yeah. Early 13. It was in April.
We did it was kind of it was actually a Seis de Mayo. It was in May. It was like Seis de Mayo hangover cure.
So I think our
loquat soda.
Right. So. We're kind of in still somewhat of a seasonal confusion over here for a lot of our trees. So.
And our huge jade tree, which was kind of what first gave us confidence when we moved here, it just becomes a huge snowball every.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
we make all the
in
East Coasters jealous because I don't know if
past years like December,
that
January.
the jade plant, the jade, I think it's just like a friendship plant. I mean, it's jade. It really flowers. I mean, enormous white blooms and.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, tiny little white blooms that just look like is mammoth.
And my mother's had jade. I remember having a jade plant my whole life in Connecticut and never once put out a white flower. So.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and not all of our jade blooms. It's just a few of them. Yeah.
Huh. That's like such the different world down there. Yeah.
Come visit us. We'll
Come visit.
Yeah, that'd be good. My sister's down there, so to come visit her and you guys, yeah.
Nice.
So, I was just going to try. We had a couple of viewers, and if they are listening and want to look for our little comment chat box up on the right-hand side, and maybe they could do a little shout out of where they're from if they want. So we could acknowledge that. Also, I wanted to do a quick little screen share of some of the blogging ideas we came up with last week. Came up with 20 of them, and then maybe we can add some more as we kind of think about maybe what you guys are blogging about. Because for a lot of people, there's really no gardening to be doing, and so it gets a little bit scarce. So I haven't done a lot of this screen share, so I'm going to give it a go here. Still learning here. Let's see. So just really quick, are you seeing this?
Yeah,
I saw yes.
Yep.
Oh,
Okay.
it's gone now, but we were seeing it.
There. How's that?
Yeah.
I think every time we talk, it takes over.
Well, I should have it where it stays on me. Well, let's give it a try. So winter garden blogging ideas. We had come up with tool and product reviews because that's a great thing to work on during the winter. Planting winter onions or garlic. For a lot of people, that's something that goes in the fall. Review and compare grow lights. That may not be something you need to do down there in California. Let's see, DIY projects. I was thinking I might be doing some projects that are related to the garden but don't need things growing necessarily. Provide food and water for birds. We were talking about maybe ways to keep it from freezing. Forcing bulbs indoors. Tool care. Winter greens, mulches, and cover crops. Make a frequently asked question page for all those kind of questions that had come up over the summer and you didn't have time to get to. And then we had greenhouses or hoop houses, bird nest boxes as the winter progresses. Thinking about the spring. Microgreens, and hopefully we'll have one of our garden chatters about microgreens and coming up in a little bit, so we can grow some things inside. Let's see, interview experts in their field, overwintering techniques for veggies, seeds and seed storage or sources, create plant guides, book reviews, house plants, pruning. So those are
great.
The ones that we had come up with in our last one. So I don't know if that gets any thoughts going or anything that we could add to that.
Well, I was thinking you could do, like a lot of people are into vegetable gardens. You could do vegetables that worked for me last year and things I'm looking forward to this year because there's always new seeds coming out. You could do, and there's so many seed companies now. Seeds you found, things that worked. You can kind of do a recap of things that worked for you in your garden last year and what you're looking forward to. This year, people are into roses. You missed roses. You could do new roses for 2015, what you liked about new roses you got last year. I myself don't have any roses, but people are crazy about roses, so that would be a good topic if people start to shop for them. I mean, here the roses come bare root in January, in December, January. So there'll be a lot of roses coming in. You can do bulbs too. There's I saw something about forcing bulbs, but you might do some new bulbs you found. Those are always some good things to do. Or if you've dried any herbs, have you used the herbs over the winter? If you've done any canning, any recipes too. People love recipes. If that's how you want to. And I was going to say houseplants and books, but you got those, and products you found. So
Right. I think you just added about
used by
5
the winter
kilometers.
gardener.
Did you get all that, Adam?
I might have to go back and
Oh, sorry about that. I was just throwing out.
no, that's
I'm
fine.
not
Go
going to be
ahead.
blocking any of those, but those are some ideas for people in colder climates.
Right.
I think a gift guide is also cool.
Yeah.
With the holidays coming up, what to get the gardener in your life, as far as dovetailing from what Nell said about products. And I think also as a winter gardener, blogger, I think this is also a good opportunity to do like introspective posts, just essays about why you garden and how you got into gardening, and maybe including cool photos from like your personal history, you know, things like that, or how gardening changed your life.
Yeah, and you know, I think one of the important things when you blog, and as the photographer for our blog, take a lot of photos throughout the year, and go on a bunch of tours, and you can always go back and now you know, go through your photos and do tours. If you're backlogged, just time to go through your photos, sit in front of
Throwback Thursday, Flashback Friday.
And you know, with that, it's for the winter folks, it's a good time to really for your blog to learn some good tools like, you know, Lightroom for photography, for, you know, tagging images, just like really take a cut at developing photo editing skills and whatnot, because that'll help out the appearance of your blog. Some other things that I'm thinking about too are well, for us over here, we're actually starting to get some rain. So for Southern California gardeners, like weatherproofing your yard, it's kind of getting to the point where you're going to need a little bit of heat. You can still be outside, but at night you're gonna want to be warm. So different ways to spend nights since we're
Heating sources.
Since our nights are coming
entertaining.
sooner now. You know, starting this Sunday. You know, we're gonna be spend a lot more evenings in our garden. So lighting techniques, you know, heating, and then when we get hopefully we get some rains here, some weatherproofing of if you are bringing electronics and lighting
And maybe
out in your yard.
And maybe rain collection too,
Thinking about
since
that.
we really want to capitalize on the rain that we get.
So yeah, so I guess we're trying to figure out some way to when we do get rain to collect it all and then use it throughout the year.
Collect all of it.
So I guess another thing I was thinking of was another couple ideas was you know, I think we can support our local nurseries and kind of put together guides for where to shop in your community, where you go to shop in your local communities, and also for our blog, we kind of want to start kind of doing city guides, and you know, especially for San Diego, for people that come to San Diego, where to go if you love plants, you know. So kind of work up some top 10s. You can do those roundups. They don't have to be that photo heavy, but you can start building those and then post them throughout the winter. And I was also thinking you could also boost up the you know, on our site our garden page is kind of our garden where you can see kind of a tour. We need to update that because we've changed so much over the past year. We just haven't had time to update our page to show what we've done. So for anyone, you know, who it might be a good time to, if you don't have a site already if you don't have a page already for your garden, kind of if you have photos throughout the year, kind of show your garden, work on your garden page. I feel like we do get a lot of hits on our garden. It's probably one of the most popular pages on our site because I think people are curious just to see what, you know, as a garden blogger, what your garden looks like. So I think that's a
When you say your garden gets a lot of hits, do you mean like where you're demonstrating techniques or just showing pictures?
No,
Well,
just
like almost like a tour of our space.
Right.
Like, about us. We have our garden, which is like about our garden, kind of the history of it and what it looks like now.
Right, and you know, we haven't updated it since last December, so we're really overdue for that. So it'd be nice to update it every season. But we'll try to, and I think it drives, people are curious when you're a garden blogger. They want to see your garden. So I think also with that, I think you know, it's also good to we're working on a plant inventory to kind of, you know, it's like inventory season. What have you grown, and kind of just start working on a list of, you know, what you've grown, and you know, just a basic list. We need to do that because I'm forgetting a lot of the names and the species of the plants that we're bringing in. So I kind of want to develop a system, and maybe that's something to write about. What's your system for logging plants when you bring them in? You know, or do you have one, or you can devise a system?
Right.
Yeah, those are great ideas.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I have enough good photos from the summer. It's starting to get a little not looking so great now. Things, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was thinking also that one thing I want to do is really quick little video tours every once in a while, just to walk around and do a little video clip. Be kind of fun to see different people's gardens. Actually, that was something that I was thinking would be fun to have here on the Garden Chatter. Would be like if you guys were able to give us a little video clip ahead of time and do a little slideshow or a quick little video snippet. So those are some of the things we'll be working to add on as we, get this figured out a little bit better. So.
And if it's snowing where you are too, I mean, there's something to be said for beautiful photographs of snowy branches. I think people are really interested in your routine as a garden blogger, and if you like going to a certain park, you can take beautiful pictures of the defoliated branches against the pink sky around sunset, or if it's snowing, like the really cool profiles of the snowy branches, and it'll be like a quieter post, but it's still feels very within the moment.
Yeah, it's probably good to remember that not everyone has snow that might be looking at the blog, so it might, for some.
I'm happy to share all of ours.
I know, you have snow for a while. I remember those days.
Bren, did you have any, you had a couple possible questions that had come up that got sent to the blog, or
yes.
do you want to address one of those?
Actually, I think this is a really good question. Just a local gardener had asked me this earlier today at a little get-together, and she was curious with how you were all very active on social media, and also throw in the factor that you guys can essentially grow year-round. So how do you stay consistent with your blogging practices?
I blog on every Wednesday, so we post a video on every Wednesday, and we post a blog on every Wednesday. And for me, I have no shortage. We have so many videos in the queue, and ones coming up, so I don't have a shortage of ideas at all. But before, when I started blogging like 3 years ago, when I'd blog, on a Wednesday, and then 3 weeks later I'd blog on a Friday, and then and when it became a regular thing is when we were able. So it's just sort of, we know every Wednesday we have a video and the blog going out, and we made it Wednesday because we were doing the video on one day, the blog on one day, because we do both of them. So it just is nice to have them both on the same day, and it's like, okay, nice. It's on Wednesday. So oftentimes on Tuesday I'm writing the post. but it does go out on Wednesday, so nice. That's how we do. And I think it's just like being inspired by plants and flowers and things around you, and you just have to have the because sometimes obviously I don't want to write. It's just it's tough, and you just have to do it because you've said, okay, I am going to blog on Wednesday. So it's just part of our business, and that's how our business is going now. So
awesome. How about you, Ryan?
I inspire myself to do it.
Well, we wish we could be more consistent.
Yeah, we wish we could.
We used to be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, which was
that's crazy
undertaking.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
We work, both of us work till 5 or 6.
We have 9 to 5 jobs.
Right. So
I'm in grad school too. Ryan's building furniture.
Right.
That's a lot.
We have we've kind of taken it down to 2 times a week, if we can make that. But we are trying to work out kind of smaller posts, because we kind of go. We do large posts, and we kind of create our own pain, I guess. And we're trying to shrink some of them so it takes us quicker to do, but we don't want to. We do like putting a lot of time into it still, so it's kind of a tough balance.
We just stay up really late.
we're trying to find like just a series to do that is kind of like just a repetitive series that is short.
Yeah.
And that helps us get into more of a rhythm and quicker posts.
Yeah, it's kind of with like sometimes doing a theme has been helpful, because the last time we did like a 5-post week was when we had cocktail week. So I mean, I guess another winter blogging idea is maybe taking on one topic like spice, and then every day of the week do a spice-related recipe.
That's a great idea.
Cider, guag,
right.
Jam with spice. Spice. and you kind of get this momentum that is really helpful.
Awesome.
Bren, did you have any other anything else you want to add from the?
The other question's kind of, I mean, I think of it more of like a technical question, and it's about tags. This friend of mine is very new to blogging, and the whole tagging is kind of confusing for her. So she was just curious, how do you use tags? How do you tag?
All right. Well, I'll jump on this one. I think it's really important. I mentioned it before, using a program like Lightroom, where it's just for your images. You need to put metadata behind your images, so you need to tag describe the plants. It's a lot of work, and that's why photography is a lot. It should take up about half the time to do each post. We pretty much spend equal amounts of time with photography and writing, both of us at the same time, because we have that luxury, but as a team. But really, you gotta tag the heck out of your photos, because they're gonna show up on image search, and you're gonna show up. SEO is gonna be optimized that way. And when you have images tagged, and you have descriptions, and you have it in the wording of your blog, it says the same thing. It just shows up. It'll go to the top of search. So that's and really, like I said, I use Lightroom. I don't know how to do it any other way, actually. There's some stuff in WordPress you can do, but for tags, we've mostly just tag our images using the Lightroom Adobe program, which is about $150. It's not that crazy, but it will give you a lot of time. It'll improve your images and what all professional photographers use, but it's also a great tool for bloggers.
Especially if you're working with iPhone photos, it can transform an iPhone photo and make it look like it was taken with the DSLR. But was your friend also asking about tags, like as far as like tags with categories too within the blog itself?
Well, that was another question about categories. We can get to that in a minute. So I'm curious about this Lightroom and your iPhone. Is that an app? I have the Lightroom on my PC. Is there an app for it, for Lightroom?
You have it. Well, I would just say I guess I haven't used the app on. I'm not really sure. But I think if you're using like your iPhone or your camera, and you say you have Dropbox, you have an automatic upload from your camera to a Dropbox folder. Phone to your Dropbox folder. Then you can kind of just set up a system in Lightroom where you just pull from that folder and drag it into Lightroom, and then you've got a workflow, and then with Lightroom you just have all these published features that you can do to just speed up your workflow, because I think it's really important.
I know. It's got a little bit of a price tag, but I also like how you can do batch watermarking with that. And I think that's really important these days.
Right.
Watermark those photos, right?
Exactly.
So maybe I can ask Nell about categorizing on your blog. That was another question. They were just kind of confused. Like I think she was getting too many categories. How do you is there such a thing as too many categories on a garden blog?
I'm not quite sure about too many categories. Maybe I think having a lot of tags is fine, but categories, we have about probably 9 categories on our blog. Otherwise, I think it gets a little bit confusing. Unless she's doing a lot of different things, then you want to have a lot of different categories. But usually one of our categories is always blog, of course. That's one of the categories. And then I use one of our categories is plants galore. So we use a lot of plants. I use Gardens Not Mine, Gardens Mine. So it depends on what her blog is about. She might only need like four categories.
Oh, okay. And that's okay.
I think the fewer the categories, the better, I think, because that way that's what the blog goes into. But I use a lot of tags too. I use the Google keyword tool, and I use my common sense for keywords to get the blog post found. So I don't tag the photos. I do the tags in WordPress.
Okay, that's great.
I was just thinking that maybe there might be some confusion about, the tags and the categories. They're not counting towards the SEO for the site, but putting in the metadata on the photos and the keywords. So maybe that's something that would be helpful to separate that out. Because the tags
and the categories are just for you and people finding things in your blog.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, I suppose we could kind of wrap it up. We didn't get any comments or questions from our audience this time, so I think there's a couple watching, but maybe they don't want to jump in there. Really fantastic to meet you guys and hear your stories a little bit. Maybe
good to hang out.
Maybe before we sign off, we could just do quick names again, and where can we find you online? What about Ryan and Chantal? Where can people find you?
TheHorticult.com. I'm Chantal, and this is Ryan.
All right, thanks. And how about you, Nell? Where should we go to find you?
I'm Nell, and I'm at JoyUsGarden. That's JoyUsGarden.com. Or you can also go to nellfoster.com. It'll go there. So either one. But JoyUsGarden is the one that people know, so that's the best one.
Very good. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. We'll go ahead and say goodbye and sign off here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, thanks.
Okay, so we're not live anymore, but we're still here.
Okay.